Me and my girl, I'll make him out. He helped me out. Me and my girl had an argument last night. I need some advice, inshallah. Don't be bold, because it puts you in a bad position with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so for the early Muslims, this is why the Sahaba, those close to Rasulullah, developed a certain decorum of how they dealt with their Prophet. Even to the point that Allah taught them, He says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu إذا ناجيتم الرسول فقدموا بين يدي نجواكم صدقة ذلك خير لكم وأطهر. He says, oh, you who believe, if you want to have a private discussion with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, فقدموا بين يدي نجواكم صدقة, then you should offer at his feet some sadaqah, like, Ya Rasulullah, I want to talk to you about something. And so, hold on, wait a minute. This is some sadaqah for the poor, because you just give me a special audience. And we used to always, when we go to our shuyukh and they ask questions and so, we always bring some kind of sadaqah, some dates, a book, something. Shaykh, thank you for taking your time to listen to that. You know, I have to say, personal audience, by the way, this is some sadaqah for you. Based upon that. But then Allah said to them, وَلَا تَجْهَرُوا لَهُ بِالْقَوْلِ كَجَهْرِ بَعْضِكُمْ لِبَعْضٍ أَنْ تَحْبَطَ أَعْمَالُكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَشْعُرُونَ. He says, and don't speak to him in your open discussion any way you speak to each other. And before that, many of the Muslims would say, hey Muhammad! They would call him out like that. Like he just joked up. And after that verse, then they all have to talk to him differently. They would say, Ya Rasulullah, Ya Nabi, Ya Mustafa. Call him by a title, because that's what's due to him. And even when we have people in our own midst, we should give them the respect. We should respect people for who they are. If you go to a court, you should say, Your Honor, give the judge some respect. Whether you agree it's not Sharia, no, you should have some respect for stuff. Respect your teachers. You know, one time I had to really respect my son. Okay, anyway, I had to discipline my son. That was the hardest I've ever disciplined him. It was because the way he disrespected his Quran teacher. He said to the teacher, I said, I don't care what. He is teaching you Kitab Allah. And you're going to respect him. And you're going to talk to him in a certain way. You're going to talk to him in the way he wants to be spoken to. That's part of the sunnah of Islam. Is it showing respect. For respect is due. Showing respect for our elderly. You don't just run up on an elderly Muslim like he's just somebody, you know, in the neighborhood. Man, you should have some sort of reverence. Some sort of respect and honor. The Prophet said, the one who does not have mercy on our young and reverence for our old, he's not from us. He's not following my adat. You give people different respect based upon their station. You don't put anybody down, because that's not respectful either. In fact, that's what's called kibr. When the Prophet ﷺ, when he asked him about, in the hadith, he said, لا يدخل الجنة من كان في قلبه مثقال ذرة من الكبر. The person who has a weight of a mustard seed of kibr in his heart won't enter Jannah. And they say, Ya Rasulullah, إن الرجل يحب أن يكون ثوبه حسنا ونعله حسنا. So, Ya Rasulullah, men like to have nice clothes. And the Prophet said, verily Allah is beautiful. He loves beauty. He says, but the arrogance I'm talking about is when you reject the truth and when you put that on the people. That's not what we're saying. But you give the people the respect that they're due. You give your teachers, you give your imams, you give our shuyukh, our ulama, you give them the respect that they're due. You don't think that everybody's on the same level socially. As far as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nobody knows, inshallah. You know, we don't know who has the most taqwa. Person could be very important, but not having any taqwa. But the Prophet himself used to show reverence for different people based on their station. When Sa'ad ibn Mu'adh came with the sadaqah, and the Sahaba were sitting down, the Prophet, when someone said, Qumu, he says, Qumu ila sayyidikum. He says, stand up for your master. Just to show this is Sa'ad, you know, he was very well-known Sahabi that, you know, was elderly, older. The Prophet says, show some respect for him. Stand up. I've heard people say things like, no, you should stand, but I ain't stand for nobody. No, that's just jahiliyyah. You have respect. Because Allah mentioned even in this verse, if you read in Surah Al-Hujurat, after he said, وَلَا تَجْهَرُوا لَهُ بِالْقَوْلِ كَجَهَرِ بَعْضِكُمْ لِبَعْضٍ, and don't talk to him openly in the same way you speak to each other. Meaning don't talk to him like you're talking to yourselves. You talk to him like you're Rasulullah. Then he said, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَغُضُّونَ أَصْوَاتَهُمْ عِنْدَ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ امْتَحَنَ اللَّهُ قُلُوبَهُمْ لِلتَّقْوَىٰ. He said, those people who hush their voices in the presence of Rasulullah, those are the people that Allah has prepared for our hearts for taqwa. This verse came down after Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, because when the first verse came down about being, don't raise your voices in the presence, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq said, Wallahi, from now on I'm going to talk to the Prophet that he's my little, and he's my small brother. Meaning that I'm going to speak to him real soft. Listen, what do you need? Like that. And Abu Bakr made that pledge. That's that, because Abu Bakr is Siddiq, and even Allah has bore witness to his fadl, for somebody who really understood adab. That's what was that they were looking for. They wanted to know, okay, what's the adab? Ya Rasulullah, what's the, how do I do it? Because all of us aren't born knowing it. Adab. Some people got to teach it. So some people, they may have it in them already to a certain degree. Some of us are rough around the edges. We have to learn adab. And this is how some of the Sahaba was. So Abu Bakr Siddiq said, Wallahi, from now on, I'm going to always talk to the Prophet ﷺ in this real soft way, real, polite way. So Allah revealed the verse, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَغُضُّونَ أَصْوَاتَهُمْ عِنْدَ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ عِنْدَ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ امْتَحَنَ اللَّهُ قُلُوبَهُمْ لِلتَّقْوَىٰ. Those people who lower their voice in the presence of Rasulullah, those people Allah has prepared their hearts for taqwa. For them, this begins from Allah and a great reward. And then he said, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُنَادُونَكَ مِنْ وَرَاءِ الْهُجُرَاتِ أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ. Those people that call you from behind the roofs, most of them, they don't know any better. And this is what I mean from Jahiliyyah, because some of them used to come, the Prophet that had his wives in his houses, their apartments were around the masjid. This is the masjid and the apartment this way. So they would stand on it, because everybody wanted to spend time with Rasulullah. So they would stand out and say, Muhammad, when are you coming out? When are you coming down? And they'd be calling them, They would just walk up, especially some of the Bedouins. The Bedouins, they didn't know adab as much as the people in the cities. Even sometimes the hobbies are kind of like when the Bedouin comes. They ask questions. They would ask questions that the normal companion in the city wouldn't ask. The Bedouins like, I don't care. Let me ask a question right now. Because that's how Bedouins are. They're kind of rough. That's what it's about. So Allah says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُنَادُونَكَ مِنْ وَرَاءِ الْهُجُرَاتِ أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ. Those people who call you from beyond the rooms, from beyond the apartments, أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ. Most of them, they don't know any better. وَلَوْ صَبَرُوا حَتَّى تَخْرُجَ إِلَيْهِمْ لَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُمْ وَاللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. But if they would show some patience until you come out, that's better for them. And Allah is big and merciful. So you see, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching the adab, He's still using great amounts of adab Himself. Thank you. So even though Allah is teaching adab, He's teaching it in a very soft way. And all over in the kitab, this is how we'll switch it. For example, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تدخلوا بيوتا غير بيوتكم حتى